it's an open mic opportunity, and if you'd like to come forward, state your name and your business and your name and address and where you live.
Okay. My name is Lucy Avenson, and I live at 15281 Highland Place. We are a group of students from Hopkins High School and Minnetonka High School Earth Clubs, and would like to address you today about the issue of climate change in our community. Before we begin, we would like to thank you, the Council, for giving us the opportunity to speak to you today, and for all of the wonderful work you've been doing for our city, such as providing a curbside recycling program, native prairie plant species restoration areas, and recently giving 115 Minnetonka residents the opportunity to get curbside organics recycling free of charge for 1 year, as well as the Green Steps program, as earlier mentioned. These programs are greatly benefiting our city, and we appreciate your efforts in implementing them. I am a junior at Hopkins High School, and I am one of the presidents of our school's Earth Club. Last year, I was just a small kid going through high school for the first time, and my older brother had choir 3 days a week at 6:45 a.m. And because I didn't want to take the bus, I had to go with him. However, on Tuesdays, I got to go to Earth Club. While I already loved the outdoors and the community that I lived in, Earth Club showed me ways that I could protect instead of harm this earth. These days, I am turning off every light that is unused and unplugging any power cord that I can. But I've come to realize that reducing my own carbon footprint is not enough to try and fix the modern humanitarian crisis of climate change. I understand that climate change is a systemic issue, so that's why me and other students have come to the place where systemic changes can be locally made. Carbon dioxide in our atmosphere is at an unprecedented level in human history. This is putting me and my whole generation at risk of suffering from more debilitating storms, longer and more scorching heat waves, worsening floods and droughts, growing invasive species and insect problems, and accelerated species extinction rates. We are on a track to inherit a disaster. This is not a future that I want. We cannot waste any more time turning our heads away from climate change and hoping that the scientist or the engineer or even the environmentalist will fix the issue. The change must come from the librarian, the chef, the teacher, the parent, the city council member, and especially the student. This is our responsibility to turn our heads back and look at the crisis and start doing what's necessary, not what some may think is politically possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so...
And your name, please.
Peyton Frostad. I live at 561 Indian Hill Road, Chanhassen, so I am not actually a Minnetonka resident, but I do run
Well, you're welcome anyway.
Yes. I do run the Earth Club at Minnetonka High School, so that is why I'm involved in Minnetonka. But as students, we've taken on an important responsibility here. We must take our future into our own hands, which is why we stand before you tonight. As teenagers, we are unable to be formally involved in politics, but I recently turned 18, so that's not true anymore. But we hope to instead collaborate directly with our government to make change. To do this, a few students from Hopkins High School in Minnetonka collaborated on creating a youth climate report card that we are presenting to you tonight. It highlights the gap between what our city is doing today, which is plenty, and what would be needed to scientifically prevent climate change. And the report card is based on research led by Dr. Jim Hansen, probably the most well-known climate scientist in the world. His team examined the climate history of the Earth to create a prescription for ending the climate crisis. The report card was created by iMatter, a national organization of youth who are dedicated to increasing their community's role in stopping climate change, with input from top energy analysts from around the country, including advisors from ICLEI, which is Local Governments for Sustainability, and the Rocky Mountain Institute. So, in order to better quantify our city's environmentalism, the report card comes with a grade, A through F as always, and although Minnetonka didn't score super well, we didn't fail, which is always a plus at this point. There are 4 sections of the report card: the Climate Action Plan, which is the biggest portion, the renewable energy, waste, and carbon removal. The grades are based on the data we have collected over the past few months with the help of City Planner Drew Ingvelson, the Minnesota Regional Indicators, and Excel Energy regarding these 4 sections. We recognize that the City of Minnetonka has taken some good steps towards sustainability, as we've seen tonight, But we would really like to use this as a springboard for more aggressive action on the issue that's so important to our lives. So the grades are for the climate plan. The Minnetonka regional indicators allow Minnetonka to measure how much greenhouse gas it creates, but Minnetonka has no formal climate action plan. There are hundreds of cities around the U.S. already implementing action plans, and we feel Minnetonka must do the same. A climate plan accounts for 50% of the overall grade, which is the main reason why Minnetonka's overall grade is relatively low. Minnetonka scored a D- in this category for that reason. Renewable energy. Minnetonka's renewable energy percentage is unknown, so the state average has been used. The minimum base grade that can be received for a state average being used is a C. Using Minnesota's percentage, Minnetonka received a C-. For waste, because of Minnetonka's good curbside recycling program and the decreasing amount of annual waste, we get a B in this category, yes. Which is good news. And the carbon removal section, Minnetonka does not have a program that will contribute to removing carbon from the atmosphere, therefore the grade is an F in this category. With all of these grades in mind, Minnetonka received an overall grade of a D+, which isn't great. However, we would like to be increasing that grade with your help and ours. We submit this youth climate report card and the detailed report that explains in detail how the grades were determined and urge you to take our concerns seriously. We hope that Minnetonka will show leadership and take measures to create a climate action plan that will protect our future and work alongside us to do so. Thank you. And I have copies of the climate action plan and the grades that I will share with you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
These are the simplified versions and then the laminated ones. I only have 2 versions because I'm using less paper.
That's good.
The detailed report card. So I will give one to Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Detailed report and the simplified one.
All right, we'll retain that and I will share it with staff.
Thank you.
Good job.
And you want another? I'll give a detailed report one.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you. And you are?
My name is Leah Harrell, and I live at 13604 Inverness Road. I am a junior at Hopkins High School and am the other president of our school's Earth Club. My passion for environmental activism didn't have a conventional beginning. I originally joined Earth Club last year on a whim because I put my name down on some sign-up sheet as I was strolling around my school's club fair. As I started attending the club meetings and volunteering at events, I absolutely fell in love with the people at Earth Club before I actually fell in love with the cause. Through the friendships I built during the year, I began to love environmental activism as well, and I felt a new passion to make my community healthier and happier. I love my city of Minnetonka, and I want to see us use this report card and our involvement as a way to get better and to make our city a leader in preserving a livable future for the children of Minnetonka. Our vision is Minnetonka creating and implementing a plan to achieve net zero emissions by 2040, which is in line with what scientists have recommended to restore balance to the atmosphere by the end of the century. There are many governmental and non-governmental bodies across the nation and the world who have already adopted climate action plans with goals to achieve net zero greenhouse emissions. In fact, we don't have to look very far to see who else has committed to a similar goal. St. Louis Park recently adopted a climate action plan with goals identical to the plan we are proposing. Spurred on by an iMatter team just this past Friday, the Minneapolis City Council adopted a 100% renewable electricity by 2030 resolution. As we speak, other youth and communities around us such as Bloomington, Eden Prairie, Edina, Grand Marais, Finlayson, and Shakopee are working with their city councils on similar climate plans. This movement is spreading like a wildfire across Minnesota and across the nation, but it's a wildfire that will protect our forests instead of incinerating them. It's a movement that will protect our beloved species like a monarch butterfly, a movement that will keep our Minnehaha Creek clean and flowing, a movement that will ensure my generation and future generations can continue to flourish in our beautiful city that we call our home. We want Minnetonka to join this movement, and to do so, and so do more than 200 people who have signed our petition in support of our goals. We are asking for Minnetonka to pass a climate inheritance resolution that will start the process of developing a climate action plan that has the goals of 100% renewable energy by 2030, net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2040, with youth involvement throughout the process. We have a draft that we'll share with you tonight that we hope to start the process of a resolution. We want to work with you to achieve these goals. This is why one of our key requests is for the young people of Minnetonka to have a formal role in setting and implementing climate change-related policies. As Lucy said earlier, we must reduce our collective carbon footprint, and to do so, we must act collectively. We hope you will support our resolution, and we are more than ready to start making our home a better one. Thank you for your time tonight. And I have our resolutions.
Good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here tonight. Is there anyone else from your group, or are we?
That's all the students who are speaking, although
Okay.
there is a representative from the Sierra Club who will speak as well.
All right. Well, let's see. Staff, do we have any questions for the students before any comments or questions? Otherwise, we'll continue.
I just have a comment. I applaud you for coming tonight. I think this council is very committed to everything you're saying. And when I was in junior in high school in Mitchell, South Dakota, I did the same exact thing in Mitchell, South Dakota. So bravo. And thanks for coming. One little fact piece is the city 2 years ago committed to 100% solar usage of city power usage, and we've implemented that, I believe, as a city. So 120% of our power usage in the city is through community solar gardens. So just for if you didn't have it already. But thanks for coming up.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Great job.
Good job. Nicely done. So yes, if someone else would like to come up, please do.
This is actually St. Louis Parks.
Oh,
Give it to the mayor.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi.
Greetings, and
Hi.
you are?
My name is Patty O'Keefe. I'm an organizing representative with the Sierra Club and just wanted to give a quick statement of support. So the Sierra Club has 70,000 supporters statewide, over 2,000 of which live in Minnetonka, and some of them are in this room tonight. And just wanted to say that the Sierra Club is in support of the youth that are here tonight and the asks that they're bringing to the city. Youth are on the global front line of the climate crisis, since they will experience more adverse impacts of climate change as it progresses. That's why many young people here and across the state and across the country are standing up and asking their cities and states to make ambitious commitments to sustainability and decarbonization. And cities do have an increasing responsibility and ability to lead the transition to a cleaner energy system. Already cities such as Rochester and Minneapolis and St. Louis Park have made commitments to 100% renewable energy. So it is possible. And these cities don't have maybe like everything figured out yet, but they do know that not adapting to climate change and to a changing energy economy will be more costly and consequential in the midterm and the long term. So we applaud the students for taking their future into their hands today, and we support the city of Minnetonka in rising to the challenge of addressing this important issue. So thank you.
Thank you. So this is still an open mic opportunity for anybody who has any other topics they would like to bring before the city council, but is there anyone with your group who would like to wrap things up, or are you folks done? And then I'll just, if there's anyone else in the audience who wants to identify an issue, otherwise we'll move forward. But does anyone else who have an issue that is not on the agenda for tonight? Anyone at all? Okay. So I will say thank you very much for being here. We appreciate your environmental concerns and awareness, and we share them. I don't want to misspeak and act like I'm speaking for the whole council. I'll speak for myself and say that environmental awareness is exceedingly important in Minnetonka. We take it seriously. We're working at it perhaps in some different ways. We don't like getting a D+, but the truth of the matter is I think if you had all the data that we had, we probably would score a little bit better. But I don't think we're in an A position, and that would be our aspiration. As a city leader and as a mayor and as a dad, I want the future that I leave my kids to be as good or better than the future that I had when I was growing up, which was a pretty wonderful experience. And so I really take your concerns to heart, and I think we do as a council. And we'll work with staff to determine what is the best way to respond to what you've provided with us. We don't make policy decisions on the fly, so we're not going to promise to do something and then find out that was a bad idea. But we will work with staff, look at it seriously, and we will be back in touch, I believe. So, Ms. Baroni, do you have anything to add to that, or council, any comments?
I have
Ms.
one
Keller?
comment. I'm married to a career wildland firefighter, and climate change is real. So I know that when I first met him and the many years that he fought fire before I even met him, that fire behavior was entirely different and less radical than it is today. And so thank you very much for what you're doing, and don't give up the fight. It's going to be a lifelong battle. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you all for being here. And do we want to take a 5-minute break? Let the folks that are going to leave, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming.